Words which by their very utterance inflict injury or tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace. Now, words that do not fit this definition, no matter how offensive they may be, are not subject to criminal sanctions. If the statute being scrutinized punishes more than fighting words, then it must be struck down as facially overbroad. Okay, words by which their very utterance inflict injury, or like, is it an injury? The word inflicts an injury, or they incite an immediate breach of the peace, which it didn't, right? So like that didn't happen. So the words didn't cause the breach of the peace. So you can't punish the words, is kind of how her argument will go. Now, that's just one case. And we're going to come back to her complaint in a second, but here's another one. MAH versus JLW. This one's also out of Minnesota Court of Appeals. This is also about fighting words. And 30 children were watching. I think that actually might be the same case. This is another case, State versus Bacala. Yeah, here, this was another Connecticut case. And if I can click appropriately, then I can share it with you. The Connecticut Supreme Court reversed a conviction for breach of the peace. Okay, somebody got sued. This is in a different state. Second degree in connection with a customer dispute. The court held, and I think the N-word was used in this case too. Let's just take a look at the opinion. Yeah, so here we go. The defendant was convicted of breach of the peace because she used words to denigrate the manager of a supermarket in the course of a customer service dispute, right? So she goes in. Fundamentally, we're called to determine whether the defendant's speech is protected under the First Amendment of the Constitution. This distinction has profound consequences for our constitutional republic. Only certain types of narrowly defined speech are not afforded the full protections of the First Amendment, including fighting words. What are those? Words that have a direct tendency to cause acts of violence by the person to whom individually the remark is addressed. And there was no physical violence that we know of in response. The broad language of Connecticut's law has been limited accordingly, because the words spoken by the defendant were not likely to provoke a violent response under the circumstances in which they were uttered. They cannot be proscribed. You cannot limit those consistent with the First Amendment. And so that is reversed. And let's see what the word was. Freeman approached the defendant, 40-year-old woman who used a cane during a medical condition. Although the defendant denied that she had called, Freeman recognized her voice. The defendant proceeded to loudly call Freeman a fat, ugly B word and a C word. F you, you're not a manager.